In the name of Allah, who is kind and merciful. Dear listeners, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. This is Nasser, English instructor, Department of English, Kohat University of Science and Technology, Kohat. Subject is Study Skills. Subject code is ENG 112, Part 2, Lecture 27. Topic of this online class is vocabulary learning. Outlines of this class are finding new words, understanding word meanings, recording new words, remembering new words, self-testing, using new words and natural language, summary, and references. Learning objectives of this class. By the end of today's session, students will be able to work out the meaning of words, find new words, find ways of remembering words, develop vocabulary. Finding new words. Planning your sources. It may seem unnecessary to talk about where you will find the words for your language learning. Surely they will be provided in the textbook or class handouts. The more successful you want to be, not only to get good grades in your course, but also to use the language orally and in reading and writing, the more you will want to go beyond the supplied materials. It is up to you to search out words from many sources, developing your own hunting plans. Successful language learners report these sources. For example, words, phrases, extra reading in the text, conversing with native speakers. The general pattern in the students' suggestions is that they looked for words in a context rather than in word lists, although of course they often organized the words into lists of their own later. How many words a week? The decision about how many new words you want to learn per week is important in relation to your final target. You could, of course, decide on the target first and then divide it up. Here is some information that may help you set your target. Do you know how many words 6 years old know in their first language? As mentioned earlier, many estimates from studies around the world suggest that children probably know 2,000 words by the time they are 6. From then on, they add between 1,000 and 2,000 words a year. So from 1,000 to 2,000 words are increased annually. What sort of words? As well as deciding how many, you need to think of which words you need and at what level. We all understand more words than we can use. We hear the words in context and we understand them, but we may not need to use them ourselves. It could help to mark separately words you want to understand when they are used in the new language, but which you are not going to bother using yourself. These are sometimes called receptive rather than active vocabulary. They could include words you meet in specialist articles and journals or newspapers on particular topics, space exploration, or some area of science which is outside your specialty. Understanding new word meanings, finding the words. Once you have found the words, usually in chunks of language, such as people's conversations, radio or television programs, or through various types of reading, the next step is to work out the meaning. It is one thing to understand words at a superficial level when you see or hear them. It takes more understanding to remember them when you need to use them. So, one way of remembering words is to work out the meaning for yourself rather than turning straight to the dictionary. It is worth taking what seems like a longer route when you are reading. Some students think this advice is the teacher's way of making things difficult. In fact, many studies have shown that thinking deeply about the meaning and trying to work it out is the way to make the words stick. For the long term memory, it is very much important for a student to work out the meaning of the words. Guessing the meaning. This guessing or sensible production is not as difficult as you might think. If you meet a word often enough in context, you start to have a feeling for it, unconsciously or consciously. If they want to hurry the process up, learners find themselves developing a feeling for word meanings. They are able to categorize words mentally in various ways. They know that this new word usually appears in articles or conversations about such and such a topic as they start to have a feeling for the word's meaning. Try yourself out with the following example. Try yourself out with the following example. Imagine that the new word which you have just met in your reading in Quaker, which is a real word in a language you probably don't know. Your first clue to its area of meaning is the place where you came across it, which is this case a geographical mixing. All the surrounding words are put in English here, but imagine that they are words you already know in a new language, and only Quaker is new. By the end of the article, you have come across the new word 4 times in the following sentence. We need to think about looking after Quikka. The Department of Conservation believes there could be a black market in Quikka. Large numbers of Quikka are being shot and others are being maimed. These maimed Quikka cannot make it all the way back to Siberia and Alaska. Before turning to the end of the chapter for the translation, try answering the questions below. What part of speech is the word? What clues are there to its meaning? What word family could the word belong to? What mental picture are you forming? The context helps supply the meaning. The process of intelligent guessing is not just for second language learners. We use it all the time with our first language. When the telephone line is not clear, when the other person mumbles, when a little child explains something with words that are hard to follow, or when someone introduces a very specialized new word in the middle of the conversation. What happens is that the context helps supply the meaning. Successful students have all sorts of clever ideas for working out new word meanings. Try reading a passage with a friend and exchanging ideas about what the new words might mean and how you know. Use these and other clues. For example, hints from the title, the general meaning of the paragraph, the sentence before and after, an intelligent guess. These things will help a lot. Recalling new words. Lists or cards. The most popular way of recording new words is in lists or on cards. In either case, students, when asked to write down their suggestions, they recommend organizing the words to make it easy to self-test. Words for concrete items such as flowers, trees, clothing, or body parts, for instance, or even some abstract terms like fear, embarrassment, and excitement, could be best recorded initially through translation. Once you know enough to write a short paraphrase or example in the new language, that is a good idea because words can be used slightly different or have different connotations in different languages. On the other hand, some specialized and technical words are probably better recorded with their exact translation. Some students recommend organizing colored cards according to categories you find useful. Some people find it helps their memory to use color coding according to the place where they found the word. Blue for the textbook, green for computer lab programs, and so on. Make up your own mnemonics. Dear listeners, some people pronounce this word as mnemonics. A mnemonic is any memory device that works for you. It could be a sentence including a string of new words such as colors, or means of transport with the initial letter spelling. A word like the acronym HOMES that some people use to remember the names of the Great Lakes of Canada. It could be a rhyme or an association. Beware that the task of making up the memory device doesn't take longer than it would to learn and the word another way. The key word system is one mnemonic that is frequently mentioned in books that vocabulary learning. Here is an explanation of this system. You find a word in English that helps you think of a new word. The association may be by the sound of the word or the spelling. If you are learning a language like Japanese or Chinese, the look of the word will also be rich in associations. These associations probably don't relate to the real meaning of the new word. It is just that there is something unusual or even funny between the two words. For example, try your imagination on this one. What English words sound like the French word fromage? Fromage. Actually, it is cheese. How could you picture a cheese and connection with the English words from and age? There is no right answer to these questions. It is a case of using your imagination. Real association. With some new words, you can make real associations. This is particularly the case when some words from the language you are learning have been borrowed into English or when the two languages have a common ancestries. Thus, the Latin word banco, Bianco, means white, could be remembered by picturing a black white piece of paper. Mind maps of related words or real objects. This is an idea anyone can try out, however unartistic they feel. Draw spider webs with a general word like communication in the center and related words going out from it. A continuum is a simpler form of mind map. It can be used to record words that form a sequence such as disturbing, frightening, terrifying. Some students report labeling everything in the house at the early stage of language learning. When they want to memorize basic words for furniture and parts of the building, one said she points to all the objects as she passes them, saying the words aloud. Draw pictures. The equivalent of real things, which some students use, is pictures. Make up sentences. The students who say they made up sentences of their own is a way of recording new words, doing several things at once. They're writing complete sentences. They can use later. Remembering new words. Some suggestions for remembering new words. Use body language to remember the verbs. Visualize words and make correspondence with English. Learn vocabulary by association with pictures, sounds, or English words wherever possible. Word grouping. Bingo. Dear students, bingo is a game of chance used to indicate that another person's statement is correct. You can use any children's version of bingo but speak and the language you are learning. Alternatively, you can make your own version with your vocabulary cards. Exchange learning ideas. Organize a list of words that you and others are finding it hard to remember. Each person in a group is allotted a number of words and brings along one novel idea for remembering them. Self testing. Isolated words. The most common method is to use your original word lists covering one column. To do this, you need to have separated the columns so that you can cover either the translation or the example or the original word. For cards, have the new term on one side in a picture, the translation or a phrase on the other. Word association. See how many words you can write in chain of association from one word in your latest vocabulary list. Words in sentences. If you are making up sentences, then the new words need to be listed in a column that can be covered or folded over. Table. Sentence. I notice you have been blank space. Have you a lozenge? New word coughing. How long have you had that rasping? New word cough. Sorry about this. Blank space. My cold won't go away. New word cough. She blank space all night. That's why her throat is sore. New word cough. Words in longer passages. If you have found a number of new words in one passage, try this idea for checking your recall after you have tried learning them. Number first, photocopy the passage. 2. Write out the new words. 3. Photocopy this new version. 4. Leave it for a day or two. 5. Try writing out the missing words on another page. 6. Check with the original passage. 7. Keep the two pages for later review. Using new words in natural language. We now come to the final stage in the learning process. For most language learners, in natural settings, using the word spontaneously is the final step in knowing it. In formal learning, you can hurry this process up by starting to use the new words, even when you are not forced to as a part of an exercise. Many learners reported using new words mainly by way of practice or finding people to talk with. Using new words in natural order. Summary. Trying to working out the meaning. This online class is basically meant for developing new vocabulary. Recording the word, using the words in meaningful sentences, references, How to Study Foreign Languages by Mary Lane Lewis, Thank you very much.